regular meeting of Bucyrus City Council for March the 19th, 2019 is called to order. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Computer.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Wireball.
Here.
Trucca.
Here.
Sack.
Here.
Toad.
Here.
Shaw.
Here.
Before you have the minutes of the March 5th, 2019 regular meeting. I need a motion to accept those minutes.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Schock, second by Mr. Fogt, to accept the March 5th, 2019 regular meeting minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion passed. Thank you. This is where we grant permission for visitors to speak. This evening we have Gary Frankhouse with us from the Crawford County Partnership, and he's got a short presentation for us. Gary, if you'd step there, we need your name and address, please.
Gary Frankhouse, 117 East Mansfield Street, Bucyrus. Thanks for giving me a short moment to share a couple items as it relates to successes in Bucyrus and Crawford County. 2 weeks ago today, had an opportunity to go up to Toledo, invitation from the RGP Northwest, that's our regional connection to Jobs Ohio, to receive an award called the Governor's Cup. To give you some background on what the Governor's Cup is, back in August, September, we were asked to submit projects within the county that met one of three criteria from a business standpoint. One, it was to add 20 or more jobs. Second was to add 20,000 square foot or more to a facility. And the third was $1 million investment or more. So we submitted 4 projects, 3 from Bucyrus, 1 from Gallion. The 3 from Bucyrus were Ohio Mutual Insurance Group, First Federal Community Bank, and then Advanced Fiber Tech. For those of you that don't know, Ohio Mutual is renovating their entire complex to prepare for the workforce of tomorrow. First Federal Community Bank, somewhat the same thing. I think today was the official grand opening. And I would say if you haven't been in there, go. It's amazing what it looks like. It makes you want to bank. And with the new generation who doesn't like to go into banks, I think they're going to go in. So congratulations. I know Monica works there, and it's really quite beautiful. And then Doug Luthold out at Advanced Fiber Tech invested in a robot that does the bagging of cellulose insulation and then loads that on pallets. And then the 4th project was in Gallion, that was covert manufacturing. We had a 5th, the business owner didn't get submitted in time. So what I'm about to share could have maybe been a little bit better. I want to say that this is the first time we've ever submitted as a county. So this is kind of a benchmark of where we start. And now it's like everything's on my mind in terms of those 3 criteria. How can we build from where we are? But the good news is with that submission, it's a group called Site Selection Magazine. It's a national magazine. Site selectors promote different communities, work with industry to expand or to place them in a new area. So traction from my standpoint. The categories are based on population, and it's a 10,000 population up to 100,000. That's small cities, that's what we were in. And then it goes from 100,000 to 1 million, which is, I'm going to call that tier 1, and then 1 million plus is tier 2. So within our category of small cities, we ranked 41st in the country. So a nice accomplishment. Now that I'm aware of it, my goal is to be in the top 10. And I'm trying to share this message of criteria whenever I get a chance to speak, because I am involved in some of those, but a lot of businesses just invest because they know it's what they need to do to advance into the future. And so I'm asking them to share that information with me so that we can submit that. Sometimes it will be applicable with Jobs Ohio and grants. Sometimes there may be things that we can help them through our relationship with municipal income tax credits or CRAs that Rob's helped me so much with, and I think Doug as well, and we're prepared to do that. So we're becoming much more advanced in our ability to attract and expand. So this was a real feather in our cap, and I wanted to share that with you. Hopefully you saw it on social media. I would ask all of you as investors to like our page. It's more important, I realize every day, I shared the State of the Vision that we've started marketing properties. So the Going building out in the Ohio Crossroads Industrial Center, we submitted that on social media on a Friday evening, and Saturday morning I had an email from the site selector in Germany asking about the facility. About a week later, the project came down from Jobs Ohio. A German parts manufacturer was looking for a specific building that looked exactly like this building. So I did submit that, and we're still waiting to hear because there's probably 10 to 15 states that can submit 10 properties. Ours was one of the ones submitted by Jobs Ohio, so that's a good opportunity for us. So we'll know more about that, but it's those likes that have that organic ability to be marketed. So that was a big victory. And Site Selector magazine, I brought a piece here that says what matters most to site selectors from a local criteria standpoint. Number one is workforce skills. Number two is transportation infrastructure. Number three is workforce development. Number four is higher education. Number five, utilities, cost, and reliability. So I share that because, just sitting in and listening to what you guys are discussing, so important. And from where I stand when I'm talking to them, we have some magnificent infrastructure. Yes, just like a lot of other communities in Ohio, we're having to go through this separation. And I agree, sometimes it seems unfair, but I compliment you for taking that step forward because it's something that we share from the standpoint of capacity issues that we have to recruit. So, and the last thing I wanted to share tonight was I brought this piece over here from Focusing on Business. This was an article that went out in a national publication, and it relates to workforce. And I mentioned workforce skills was number one, and workforce development was number three. We've built a continuum by working with our schools. Every month, all 6 of our public school superintendents meet in our office, and they're working together. And they're focused on driving workforce down into the elementary. You've heard of the Leader in Me program, that's K through 5. The wage tours where we're taking 8th and 9th graders into industry. Started as just manufacturing, now it's in financial services, it's in healthcare, it's in agriculture. And we're showing them the opportunities that are here. So it exposes them. Then we're coming back freshman year and we're talking about the community opportunity site that we've shown you. We've got statistics now because of the 1,200 that are registered. And just as of today, we added another 390 kids, all the 9th through 12th graders in Galleon, with a commitment from Buckeye to do the same within the next 2 weeks. But what's so important about that is it's not just a job site. These kids are registering. We're getting to go in and give them a message of importance. We're asking them, what do you think's here? And guess what they think's here? Fast food. And then we start talking about interior design, we talk about healthcare, we talk about drone aviation for hordes, and we start showing them these jobs because there's over 300 jobs posted on that site. And you got to see their facial expressions change. They realize there are things here. And it gives us the ability to then attract them back. And as I hear you guys discussing these utility costs, what's more important in increasing population? Because roads aren't going down, police not going down, fire's not going down, sewer's not going down. The only way that we drive those costs down is put more people, the denominator on there, and start lowering our individual costs of those of us that live here. So we've got to talk to these students. We're doing that through the community opportunity. Now we have the Crawford Success Center. We have that 2.3 bump in post-secondary education. Sounds small, $4 million. And that's based on taking that 2.3% based on our population that is applicable there, and then doing the math, the median household income of a household with post-secondary education, one without, that's the minimum number, it's $4 million. That goes a long way in our communities. So the Success Center, the Crawford Works, now there's a program North Central State announced today, a 4-year degree. That's a chance to keep kids here. I was over at OSU last week talking to the new dean. They've got a nursing program and an engineering program. Theirs is more leadership, where North Central's is more technical skills based. They're trying to keep students on the Mansfield campus for 4 years because they want to keep them in the area. That is good for everything you guys are working on and talking about. And that's discussed in that article because when they reached out, they said, what are you doing for workforce? And when we shared that, they're like, that's a story. So we were published in that. We've got that plaque. That is the article. Hopefully you saw that. So I just wanted to share those two things with council so you could get an idea of some of the bricks we're building on the foundation to solve those questions of, you see it right now. I want to bring jobs. I want to bring higher pay. That's great. That's the roof. That's putting the shingles on. This is the work in the ground that has to happen because it enables us to win those victories down the road. So wanted to just emphasize those 2 points. And then finally, state of the vision. Want to thank Monica and Jeff for being there. I know Sis and Doug reached out and shared. I know your schedules were busy. And they received books, Doug and Sis did not. So I wanted to bring books for all of you because the message was pure to what we need to be thinking about. We are branding Bucyrus in Crawford County. And there's 2 narratives that you can create with any story. There's a good and a bad. And she actually played a video about Cleveland when the river was burning, and it wasn't good. But there's another video too of how it's flourished. And her point was, you guys are ambassadors of your community, and you can tell 1 or 2 stories. And I think what we've been trying to emphasize is, let's tell that good story, because that's the perception that's created. The Governor's Cup, this article in this magazine, as we get those things out, that's what people start perceiving us as. And when we're perceived as successful, we're going to get the results of that too. And it's in us. And that was her message. Be an ambassador for your community. There is not a perfect community. She said that. There is not. There's not a perfect person. Nobody in this room is perfect. We all have flaws, right? But what we need to emphasize are those things that we're doing well. And we need to do it together. Because if we get that harmony, that's the perception that's going to be in the community. And we're going to start winning population. We're going to drive down costs for those of us that are here. And I wanted to hand out these books, and if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer. But just to thank you again for the support and giving us the chance to wake up every day and serve Bucyrus in Crawford County.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah.
I've got 2 questions for you, Gary. Number 1, I was unfortunately unable to attend, but I've heard a lot about it. Do you have that list of 10 questions that she posed to the group? And if so, can you forward that to us?
It's in the book.
In the
I'm giving you
book,
the
perfect.
book.
My other question is, can you update us on the housing study that we approved?
Yes,
and what
thank
the
you.
status of that is?
So actually tomorrow at 11:30, and you're all invited to the Crawford Success Center. Ganter is going to be here, and we're hosting them to explain the process they're going through. They've been here for 3 to 4 weeks already. It's a 10-week process. But they're going to talk about how they collect data. They're going to understand who the stakeholders are, who are all of you, and you can ask questions and get a better understanding of what we're going to be given as a product. I think it was mentioned when I came to ask, months ago. Ultimately, they're going to tell us, here's what you need. It's still going to be all of our jobs, mine in particular, and I have some developers coming tomorrow to then try to move them to put in the developments, to invest the millions of dollars for the infrastructure you guys were just talking about earlier. So that is tomorrow. It's at 11:30, and they will be here.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't have a question, Madam President, but I would like to say what he was discussing about RGP Ohio up there in Toledo, that was covered by a local news group out of Toledo, and if you haven't seen that already, I suggest everybody take a look at it, watch it, because as you can elaborate, we're one of 5 site-selected areas in the United States, I believe.
Well, we're 41st in terms of those criteria.
Or sorry, state of Ohio,
State
we're
of
one of
Ohio.
5.
State of Ohio.
One of 5 site locations that.
They're in the top 5.
Yeah. So just, it's something that shows the impact that our community is having on a national level and how we're being recognized for our innovations as far as bringing in workforce, bringing in jobs, and making our place a business-friendly community. So I watched it. Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Good hand up. You want to
Yes.
start, we'll pass them around.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
I don't know if everybody got to see this, because you kind of just walk, I'll just get this tomorrow.
Okay, thanks.
So if you want to look at it, at the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else to address council this evening? Yes, step to the podium, please. Your name and address?
Jenny Vermillion, 515 Hill Street, here in Bucyrus. Good evening, Madam President and council members. I've already submitted to you my questions via email, but I'm going to read them for the record. Regarding the possible rail car converted to a soundstage for Shine's Art Park, I have a few questions. In the term of the agreement for possible repayment if the grant is not administered correctly or a failure is found during an audit, it's 15 years according to section 3 on the agreement on page 2. On page 4, section 15, the agreement states, the grantee, who is the city of Bucyrus, will keep all records and reports associated with the project funded under this agreement available to the state auditor or the auditor's designee, Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and Ohio Public Facilities Commission for a period not less than 18 years after the period of project closure. That would be June 30th of 2020. So we're looking at a time frame that we're considering of June 30th, 2035 to June 30th, 2038, and possibly longer. According to the pass-through grant agreement, an audit can be done of the project during the first 15 years while the state holds a vested interest in the park, and should any part of the audit be deemed a failure, the citizens would have to pay back the $120,000 plus spent. During those 15 years, at a minimum of 18 years, the city is required to file reports with the above-mentioned state agencies. My question, how long will an already used boxcar that has been cut in half to accommodate the space available last, and in what kind of condition will it be at the end of this time frame? From what fund will the regular annual maintenance be paid, and what will the maintenance schedule moving forward from June 30th, 2020, and the annual cost to the taxpayers be? Thank you.
We haven't even decided on a boxcar. We're currently investigating all the options, including incorporating a rail boxcar. As far as for cutting it in half, that's even we aren't even to anything like that. Our goal is really just to construct a venue, whether it's a boxcar or whatever it is, that will support a wide variety of activities, of arts, and at the same time, we have to keep the project within budget. And to make sure we do this, we're reaching out to the potential users, including the Browers Festival and other design professionals to advise us on this. And once we have any needed information on this, and we'll finalize a decision and we'll make it known to the public. And we don't have that decision ready now, and we expect to have reach a decision pretty soon, probably within the next month or so, because we want to have that complete by June 2020. And that's what the mandated completion date is. And if we do decide on a boxcar or some type of incorporation of a boxcar in a stage, we'll have a maintenance plan developed at that time.
I guess I'll ask the question. Regardless of being a traditional standalone stage, a boxcar, or whatever you decide, or they decide, or we decide as a community to put in there, you're gonna have a maintenance schedule for it. You're gonna have to either create a fund for that maintenance, or it'll be part of the parks fund, which would fund the repair and maintenance of it.
Just like all our parks.
That's kind of,
yeah, it's in parks fund. That's, yeah.
But you don't anticipate creating like a separate fund
No,
just for the
no.
Shines Art Park stage? I mean,
No.
Any other questions, comments? Anyone else to address council this evening? No one? Moving on to communications and petitions.
We've got one communication. This is from Bucyrus Lodge number 68 of the Fraternal Order of Police, dated March 14, addressed to Bucyrus City Council regarding the Cruising with the Cops Custom and Classic Car Show. The Bucyrus Lodge number 68 Fraternal Order of Police Incorporated respectfully requests permission to close the following streets on Saturday, June 8, 2019 for the Cruising with the Cops Custom and Classic Car Show. We would like to close the 100 block of East Warren Street from 7 a.m. until 12 a.m. midnight for the food court. Sandusky Avenue from Mary Street to Oakwood Avenue from 12 p.m. until 12 a.m. midnight. We would also like to close Washington Square, 100 blocks of East and West Mansfield Street, 100 block of West Warren Street, 100 blocks of East and West Rensselaer Street, and the 100 block of East and West Charles Street from 12 p.m. until 12 a.m. midnight. Your attention and support of this matter would be greatly appreciated, as this is a great event for our city,
Respectfully, Tracy Keegan, Treasurer, FOP Lodge number 68, and that is referred to Health and Safety.
Okay, I need a motion to refer this to health and safety.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. McKeever, second by Mr. Trucca. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed. And we're back again. This has gotta be like 26, 7 years now for the car show.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
Gonna
Interesting
be a
time
bigger-
downtown.
bigger-
Thank you guys for taking that over.
Interesting time downtown, right? Okay. That's it for communications and deficient standing committee reports. We started the joint regular, let's see, Mr. McKeever, you're getting us started this evening.
Okay. Bucyrus City Council Joint Regular Committee meeting met Thursday, March 7th, 2019, from 6 p.m. to 6:42 p.m. Members present, myself, Dan Wireball, Bruce Truca, Monica Sack, Doug Both, Andrew Schock, Kevin Myers absent. Bucyrus City Joint Regular Committee meeting was called to order by myself at 6 p.m. Public participation, Henry Howe, 531 South Walnut Street, spoke in opposition to a proposal to convert a rail car into a stage for Shine's Art Park and suggested working with Pioneer Career and Technology Center in Shelby to have its students build a stage. Order of committee business, A, plating committee. Plating committee convened at 6:07 to 6:23 p.m. Members present, Monica Sack, Bruce Truca, and myself, Chair. Number 1, zoning variance notification protocol. The committee received a letter from the city's Board of Zoning Appeals expressing support for a committee proposal to modify the notification protocol by posting the board's meeting details on the city's website, social media account, and Access TV channel, as well as requiring applicants to post a sign on their property with the same details. The board passed a resolution of support for the posting of signs on the applicant's property for 14 days prior to hearing. The board did not express support for expanding the existing mailing notification area of 200 feet from the applicant's property. Fred Miller, 785 Arrowhead Drive, asked if applicants are screened before the requests are allowed to proceed, and it was explained that it is what the board's hearings are for, provided the requests are properly filed. He suggested that 14 days wasn't enough time for posting of signs, and that 200 feet is too small a circumference for mailing. It was proposed that the mailing protocol could be changed to include either all properties within 200 feet of the applicant's address or a minimum number of properties for those areas of the city where properties are more sparsely distributed. The matter was continued. McKeever recessed. The planning committee at 6:23 p.m.
Any questions or comments regarding the planning committee meeting? None. Moving on, finance committee.
Finance Committee met Thursday, March 7th, from 6:23 p.m. to 6:42 p.m. Members present, Dan Wireball, Andrew Schock, and myself. Number 1, various appropriations. Auditor Joyce Schiffer explained the following appropriations needed to be made. A, from unappropriated general funds, $1,000 to Program 1, Security of Persons and Property, 7110 and 7111, Police Department, 24, Materials and Supplies for a donation received for safety count. B, from unappropriated general funds, $50,000 to 430 Fire Levy, 7115 Fire Department, 25 Capital Outlay for Marks grant funds received for new radios. Chuck made a motion to request legislation making the two appropriations with a second by Wireball. Motion passed by voice vote. Number 2, reduction. Schiffer explained that the ordinance 16-2019 passed on February 19th to make a reduction of $80.78 in 282-2019 Victims of Crime Act, 7111 Victim Advocate, 21 Personal Services to correct an error in the 2019 budget had the wrong department number. It should be 7728. Law Director Rob Ratliff suggested ordinance 16-2019 be repealed and replaced to make the change. Wireball made a motion to request legislation to that effect with a second by Schock. Motion passed by voice vote. 3, WPCLF loan application. Branstetter Carroll Inc. is requesting a resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for 0% loan funds through the State Water Pollution Control Loan Fund for Group 1 design and Group 2 design and construction, part of the city's ongoing EPA mandated combined sewer overflow reduction project. Legislation to that effect was held to first reading at council meeting on March 5th. Service Safety Director Jeff Wagner explained that if loan legislation is not passed, Branstetter Carroll Inc. would have to halt its work on the project and the U.S. EPA could assess city residents for the cost. Wagner was asked how the legislation held for first reading on March 5th differed from Resolution 224-2017 passed by council on August 3rd, 2017, which is virtually identical. Wagner will look into it, and following a discussion on the status of the project, the matter was continued. Number 4, SAC recess the Finance Committee at 6:42 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments regarding the report of the Finance Committee? Okay, if you continue, please.
Number 4, public participation, there was none. Number 5, SAC asked for a motion to adjourn the joint regular committees. Motion by Wireball and second by Truca to adjourn at 6:42 p.m. Motion passed.
Okay, thank you. The Finance Committee met in special session this evening, on Thursday, March the 19th. Tuesday, March the 19th. At 19th at 6:45 p.m. Ms. Sack, you have a report for the Finance Committee?
Yes.
Madam President, your minutes for tonight's meeting are not going to reflect the discussion that took place today. So, I mean, you can read those minutes, but you're going to need to amend those minutes
Until
subsequently. Yeah.
for next, they'll be part of the minutes for this meeting.
Yes, for the next
Next
meeting. Yeah,
council
because
meeting.
the minutes that we have don't reflect all the discussion that we had after the fact. Sorry, the short version is what we have. But the
Yes, that's all
long
we're
version
getting
is the final
tonight.
version.
Okay. Bucyrus City Council Committee, the Special Finance Committee met tonight, 6:45 p.m. to 7:10 p.m. Members present were Dan Wireball, Kevin Myers, Andrew Schock, and myself. Number 1, the Special Finance Committee meeting was called by Council President Sislov and the administration to discuss an appropriation and a WPCLF loan application. The meeting was called to order by Monica at 6:45 p.m. Number 2, appropriation. It was $7,500 was appropriated due to monies that came in, appropriated to capital outlay item to purchase bicycles for the officers. There was a first by Wireball, second by Myers. All were in favor and the motion passed. Number 3, the WPCLF loan application. This is a 0% loan from the state of Ohio. This was a resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for and accept and enter into a water pollution control loan fund agreement on behalf of the city. This was to request legislation. The first by Schock, second by Myers. Were in favor. It was opposed by Wireball. Motion passed. Number 4, Wireball adjourned the Special Finance Committee meeting at 7:10 p.m. with a second by Myers.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Traffic Commission, we don't have any Traffic Commission minutes. Are there any reports from the Traffic Commission? When is one scheduled?
We have a meeting coming up Friday morning at 10 a.m.
This Friday at 10 a.m. and that meeting is in council chambers?
Great.
Okay. Any questions regarding traffic? Yes, Mr. McKeever.
The intersection of Beale, South Marion Road and Highway Farmview.
Sure.
When is there going to be a no right-hand turn on Farmview?
We're discussing that right now, it's on the agenda.
Okay.
Didn't Bill work on it?
I think you might have, yeah. Should we invite him to the meeting?
I don't know, it might be.
I just,
Yeah.
when I see that near accident, I
Right,
just,
yeah, it's coming on Friday.
okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, moving on, I need a motion to accept the committee minutes and related committee reports collectively.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Fogue, second by Mrs. Sack. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed. We have a report of city officers, starting with the mayor, Mr.
Thank you,
Easter.
Madam President. I just want to clear up something on the loan that we talked about before I started my regular. For every $1 million that we borrow, it's going to cost the residents over 30 years $6.06, or about 50 cents a month to borrow that money, right, interest-free. So I'd imagine the value of $6.06 in 5, 10, 20, 25 years. So you see it's due to inflation, it gets easier. If we don't borrow it and we go out and do $1 million worth of tie-ins, that will cost the residents $181.82 a month. Excuse me, a year, pardon me, which will be about $15 in addition to what they're paying now. That's per $1 million. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to go do the $4 million because no resident would want to pay $720 a year. That gets back in what some of the Ohio EP wanted us to do. But we're asking the residents, basically it's 50 cents a month to start out with, so we think it's a good deal for the residents. Okay, back to the regular event. Last night we had 4 elected officials, federal officials, state officials in town for a banquet at Trillium. It was great to see Supreme Court Justice Judy French, Senator Portman, Congressman Jordan, as well as State Rep Raider McLean. And we appreciate their concern. Had a great crowd, 150 or more people. It was a very nicely done by Dick Gervais and the staff at Trillium. The partnership, which Gary Frankhouse talked about, had State of the Vision last week. They did a fantastic job. He alluded to author Melody Warnick. Beautiful talk about that. I mean, we all need to, and I've read that book before, but read it again. This is called This Is Where You Belong. You all have a copy of it there. And it's interesting, she's the #1 resource that helps citizens to bond to their community is walking and bike paths, #1. So that's been a focus of our administration from the beginning, and we're trying to get it off the ground. I can say we got the first one coming. We've already applied for another grant on that too. So, you all have a copy there, and if you need a copy, let me know. Kelly and I met with Winford High School students. We talked about the importance of meeting with the students about community opportunity. Winford was the last group I met with. I do it every year. Mr. Banta's class. And this is meeting with Crawford and VHS. Kids are attentive, involved, good questions. I love to meet with them, and basically what I'm doing is giving them a very personal invitation. We have jobs for them. We'd like them to stay and work, go get your education, and come back. Brittany Slagle is a champion of the 51st Women's Invitational. Nice crowd there on Saturday. Carrie Spears was runner-up. Both Brittany and Carrie were classmates of our daughter, so it's nice to see the young kids picking up bowling. And if you add Nathan Monk to that, 3 out of the 4 bowlers were under 30, so it's great to see the young people out there. Tree board met this evening. That's who you heard walking behind us. And we have so much on our agenda. We're trying to focus on 2019. We have a 1-year plan and then a 5-year plan that we're working on. We've got an aggressive agenda. great group of volunteers. You know what our tree canopy looks like, you just have to look at Poplar Street and see what some of the other streets are. Every street looked like Poplar Street at one time. And Poplar Street isn't gonna look like that forever, because those trees are getting a little rough, some of those too. So we thank them for their volunteer spirit and for your support of this low-cost program. It's certainly very beneficial. Couple more things here. Jerry Spiegel, who's with us tonight. Happy retirement, 47 years.
Hey!
We won't make any wastewater jokes. We've already got all those out of our system. So Terry will be busy in retirement, continuing his legacy of service to those less fortunate as he's done through his working career at Good Hope Lutheran Church, and he's the district governor of Lions Club International. He's got a big convention coming up next month. Thank you and enjoy your retirement. A few things. First Federal is now open. Congratulations, Monica. And saw Brad today, and I'm excited to see it and get a chance to get there today, but I will be down there. I got a wonderful letter in the mail today from Arbor Day Foundation. It said, Mayor Jeff Reeser, dear Tree USA supporters, on behalf of the Arbor Day Foundation, I'd like to congratulate Bucyrus on earning recognition as a 2018 Tree City USA. Residents of Bucyrus should be proud to live in a community that makes the planting and care of trees a priority. We are one of 3,500 Tree City USAs with a combined population of 150 million. And Mr. Truco will correct me if I think Ohio's number one. Am I right there? I think Ohio has the most Tree City USAs.
It does. You're right.
All right, good. Okay, sponsored by the Arbor Day Fund. It costs nothing. It's just our investment in our trees and our budget. And then we have next month, I think the council members get an invitation in the mail to the Tree City USA. I think, if not, I'll make sure you get that to you. It's in Mr. Rostash's home turf over there in Crestline is hosting that, where we'll get our second year award. That's April 18th. And I think that's it, except for one last goal. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like us on Facebook. We have a city, Bucyrus Facebook page, and we had some trouble with it. Facebook was down last week, so we had a couple of them put up this week that were actually last week's, but 2 or 3 minutes invested in it, and it's a good idea to see what's going on in Bucyrus. So like us on Facebook. So thank you, Madam President.
Any questions or comments for the mayor this evening? None? Moving on, the Service Safety Director Jeff Wagner's report.
Yes, I have that too. Spring into wellness. I believe I gave that to everyone also. If you take them and they put them up at your place of work, we would certainly appreciate that. The City of Bucyrus employees will be hosting the first ever Wellness 5K walk run on Saturday, April 6th at 10 a.m. It'll begin at Friendship Shelter at Almont Park. It's $10, and you'll get a free T-shirt. But you have to register by next week to do the 25th. All proceeds will go to get new bikes for Safety Town. And information on registration is on our city website, or call our office. Compost site is now open. Saturdays are now open on March 3rd, excuse me, from 8 to 1, and then after that will be open for normal hours, which is Wednesdays through Fridays, 8 to 2, and Saturdays from 8 to 1. We're taking applications for summer help in the parks, lifeguards, and for the pool concession stand. Applications are in the mayor's office. Material bids were opened last week on Tuesday, and the bids will be awarded after the specs for each item has been verified. The farmland bids were opened actually today at 10 a.m. So we open tomorrow, we open them today at 10 a.m. General labor interviews, we have completed the first round of interviews for general labor position, and we made 2 offers. We interviewed 10 people, we made two offers today. One accepted, and we're waiting to hear back to the other one. I will say that 17 people took the test. We interviewed the top 10. We had 10 outstanding candidates, and we're thrilled to get them. Bill and clerk custodial applications, we had 15 for that job. And the civil service test is this Sunday in council chambers. The All Miller Park concession stand received an excellent food award from the Crawford County Public Health Environment and Health Director, Steve Josriak, for our dedication to food safety at the All Miller Pool concession stand. Congratulations to everybody involved. You know, Jeff and Kelly went, took classes last year, got certified. Traffic Commission, as we mentioned, will be Friday at 10. We had a conference call with ODNR about the reservoirs, and we're submitting a schedule, sending out for their approval this week, and they will get back to us in approximately 2 to 4 weeks. At that time, we will discuss it in committee. To all customers with a billing date of March 14th, 2019, there is an error with the due date that is printed on the bill. The due date is April 5th, 2019, not March 20th, so you have more time than you think. Don't worry, you won't be shut off if you don't pay your bill by March 20th. So very sorry for the confusion. We have new software and it missed. Police Department, along with the Fire Department, conducted a drill at Bucyrus Elementary School on March 11th for a bomb threat. Everyone was evacuated in about 15 minutes. It was a very successful drill. That's the end of the program. I do have one referral. Tree Board is interested in developing a memorial tree program for the city where loved ones can, for a certain amount, have a tree planted in one of our parks for a deceased loved one. And we'd like to discuss that in committee.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's it?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm sorry.
Okay. I didn't hear the thank you at the end, so.
Thank you.
That was my turn.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one referral, then this will go to Public Lands and Buildings. The request for a memorial tree program. I need a motion, please.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Wirebaugh, second by Mr. Foat. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed. That'll be in Public Lands and Buildings. Are there any other questions or comments regarding the Service Safety Director's?
I got one.
Yes.
Is the swimming pool gonna be open on time?
Well, it's gonna depend on the weather, you know. Yeah. It's going to depend on.
They got the work done, and they were gonna do work
Yeah.
inside over the winter, they got that done?
I don't know. I'm not sure it's completely finished yet.
Okay.
I know they've been working on it because I
I
had
know
a
it's
discussion with
finished, yeah.
somebody with their head stuck down 2 foot in a hole somewhere out
Yeah,
there.
they've been working, I can't say it's
I hope,
done.
yeah. I hope
We're still in snow shoveling mode.
Well, I'm
So,
sure.
We'll start worrying about the pool here as soon as the weather breaks a little. But it's the contract's been set, they're ready to go as soon as they get some good weather. So. And the plans are that it will be done by the end of May.
Any other questions? None? Moving on, Law Director, Mr. Atlas.
Thank you, Madam President. I think I have a report tonight, so.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Atlas this evening?
You're doing your job.
Fun day.
I just wanted to, we had an email discussion, and if there's something we need to, if we need to put something back in committee or remind the, you said it's all in committee, but I would like to move on that. It's about derelict buildings and things like that.
Yeah, and Mr. Wireman did email me about a property. Again, it's back, it's trash violations. That particular property owner, it's his third offense. Most recently, the court granted him until May 1st to clean up the property. So we're working on that one. But Mr. Wireman also questioned about what we can do on some other things. And one of the things that we struggle with in the property maintenance area is we have many, many homes in town that are owned by individuals that are either physically unable or financially unable to take care of their houses. So it's, it's a balancing act sometimes. You don't throw people out in the street, their home is their castle, and you want to try to work with them. And so one of the things we've looked at over the years is ways to maybe find avenues to help those individuals. One of the things that council did wisely, I think, is we were working with Pogemeyer to have residential properties added to our CRA, enterprise zone stuff. I just sent them some photos this last week, and they wanted an updated zoning map, because we changed the zoning in the middle of this, so we had to update that. But that's one thing that's happening. But another thing is, you know, where can we raise money from? And what's been pending in council for some time now are several things. The rental property registrations, the vacant building ordinances, all those sorts of things. The vacant building ordinances are ubiquitous. Many towns have them, to the extent now that I get a couple of calls a month from out-of-state banks asking what our vacant building ordinance is, how much they have to pay, and we don't have one yet. But those, in the proposal that we put together, and what is common throughout most of those proposals, that the amount of fees, one property over 5 years would have generated in excess of $10,000 in vacant building license fees. And that's not really a tax, but it is more transferring the cost of that building being vacant from the city and the residents to the individuals that are either holding them or investing them or whatever they're doing with those properties. But those are all, that's revenue, that's a source of revenue that, you know, the city can then put back into houses and residences and businesses and things like that are looking for additional avenues to maybe upkeep or maintain the properties. Additionally, the rental property registrations, something that we've dealt with off and on over the course of time. We have a lot of problems with rental properties. We don't necessarily know who's in them. We don't necessarily know what the conditions of them are. As I told Mr. Wireball in our email, I know right now where there are rental properties that portions of the interior are unfinished. Ones where there isn't heat, ones where there isn't running water. We just had one the other day where it's going to be a theft of services case because the extension cords were ran across the field and into another house. And ones where there's open sewage in the basements. So those are all issues that are out there that we deal with. But those are all things that are in committee that, you know, we can talk about anytime you like. There are people that are opposed to rental property registrations. There are people that are opposed to the vacant building ordinances, and I get that. But there are also problems, and we have to find ways to fix it. We have a lot of buildings that sit vacant for years and years and years. There's buildings that are vacant now that 30 years ago when I left high school and moved out of town were vacant buildings then, and they're still there. So that's an issue we have.
Do you want it back on the agenda for this Thursday?
Well, I guess whatever committees it's in.
Whose committee is that in?
It's
Health and safety?
Health and safety.
Do you want to put it back in? And put it on the
Yeah,
agenda
I
for this,
think we need-
for this week, and we'll get, find copies of what you had submitted the last time and, open the discussion items, so anybody on health and safety, make sure you, if you don't have your own copy, get in touch with Todd, he'll give you a new copy, and, you can be ready to discuss that on Thursday then. Okay? Anything else for the, law director? Auditor, Mrs. Schiffer.
Thank you, Madam President. I have no report, and I have no referrals this evening.
Well, that is.
So we'll keep it short.
Okay, are there any questions anyone has for the auditor? None? Okay, we do have the auditor statement of cash position dated February the 28th, 2019. It was given to you at the last meeting. I need a motion to accept and file that.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. McKeever, second by Mr. Foat. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed. Thank you. Moving on from the treasurer, we have the treasurer's report for January of 2019. It was given to you at the last meeting. We need a motion to accept and file that report.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Foat. Mr. Wireball? No?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Wireball.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Foat. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed. Thank you. I need a motion to accept the city officers' reports.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. McKeever, second by Mr. Foat to accept the city officers' reports. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passed. This is where we have visitor input regarding reports of the standing or special committees and of city officers. Does anyone wish to address council this evening? No one? For consideration of legislation for the first time.
We have three pieces of legislation, two ordinances and one resolution. Ordinance number 21, 2019, amending and supplementing ordinance number 61, 2018, being the annual appropriations ordinance for 2019 by appropriating from unappropriated general funds the sum of $1,000 to the materials and supplies line item within the police department category within the program 1, security of persons and property subparagraph. Further appropriating from unappropriated federal equitable sharing funds the sum of $7,500 to the capital outlay line item within the police department within the federal equitable sharing subparagraph. And finally appropriating from unappropriated fire levy funds the sum of $50,000 to the capital outlay line item within the fire department category within the fire levy subparagraph and declaring an emergency. That is referred back to finance. Ordinance number 22, 2019, repealing and replacing ordinance number 16, 2019, and amending and supplementing ordinance number 61, 2018, being the annual appropriations ordinance for 2019 by decreasing the current balances in the personal services line item by $80.78 within the victim advocate category within the 2019 Victims of Crime Act subparagraph and declaring an emergency. That is referred to finance. Resolution number 210, 2019, a resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for, accept, and enter into a water pollution control loan fund, or WPCLF, agreement on behalf of the city of Bucyrus for planning, design, and/or construction of sanitary/storm sewers and designating a dedicated repayment source for the loan and declaring an emergency. That is referred to the finance committee.
Yeah, I need a motion to accept this as the first reading.
Second.
Mr. Meyer? Oh, Mr. Weaver. Second by Mr. Schott. All those in favor to accept this as the first reading, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes. Ordinance number 21-2019 is referred back to Finance Committee. Ordinance 22-2019 is referred back to Finance. And Resolution 210-2019 is referred back to Finance. This is the time where we have public participation. Any member of the general public may present their input or comments on legislation that has been read for the first time. Does anyone wish to address council? No one? Do we need a recess? Okay, committee reports on pending legislation. Finance Committee?
Finance is favorable to ordinance 21-2019, the various appropriations. Finance is favorable to ordinance 22-2019, the reduction. And finance is favorable to resolution 209-2019, the WPCLF loan.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to accept these reports.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Foat, second by Mr. Schott to accept these reports. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed. Further consideration of pending legislation. For the second and third readings of proposed ordinance number 21-2019, which are various appropriations, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the reading of the caption and text, and declare it an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Schott,
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Trucca,
Yes.
Sack,
Yes.
Vogt.
Yes.
Ordinance number 21, 2019.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance number 21-2019?
So, second.
Schott,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
Trucca,
Yes.
Sack,
Yes.
Vogt.
Yes.
Ordinance number 21-2019, the various appropriations is duly adopted. For the second and third reading of proposed ordinance number 21-2019, which is the reduction, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the reading of the caption and text, and declare it an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Wireball,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Trucca,
Yes.
Sack,
Yes.
Vogt.
Yes.
Ordinance number 21, 2019.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance number 21-2019?
So moved.
Second.
Sack,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Wireball,
Yes.
Trucca,
Yes.
Vogt,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Ordinance number 21-2019, the reduction is duly adopted.
Madam President, point of order, that was actually ordinance 22, we've got 21 listed twice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Let's do it again now. Because we did 21 twice then. Okay, so start over for the second and third reading of proposed ordinance number 22-2019. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the reading of the caption and text, and declare it an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Wireball.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sack.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Ordinance number 22-2019.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance number 22-2019?
So moved.
Second.
Sack.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Wireball.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Ordinance number 22-2019, the reduction is duly adopted. Thank you very much for that. For the second and third reading of proposed resolution number 210-2019, which is the WPCLF loan, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the reading of the caption and text, and declare it an emergency?
So moved. Second.
Vote.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Wireball.
No.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sack.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Resolution number 210-2019.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed resolution number 210-2019?
So moved.
Second.
McKeever.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Wireball.
No.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sack.
Yes.
Resolution number 210-2019, the WPCLF loan is duly adopted. Moving on to unfinished business. Does anyone have any unfinished business they'd like to bring up this evening? Mr. Ratliff?
I have something new, and contrary to what I told Mr. Hill earlier, I apologize. I do have one item I'd like to refer to the Health and Safety and Finance Committee, if I could. I'd like to refer the issue of fire equipment, please.
Fire equipment.
Yes, sir.
Is this the CO2 alarms and whatnot? That's all.
No, that's a health and safety only issue. That's a legislation thing. No, this is fire equipment for health and safety and finance.
Okay. Okay, I need a motion then to refer to health and safety and finance, fire equipment.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Meyer, motion by Mr. Meyer, second by Mr. Schott, to place discussion of fire equipment in health and safety and finance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed. Thank you. Any other old business or unfinished business? Yes, Ms. Wireball, or Mr. McKeever?
How about we had I don't remember which committee it's in, about the tax abatement on incentives for these derelict homes that we made. Which one was that in? We had that in, we
Is
just,
that
I
the enterprise on top?
believe so.
That was in finance, and I want to say it was in health and safety too, but, that we got that approved, and we're working with Pogemeyer to get that into the thing, and I mentioned it earlier. We just sent them, copies of some derelict bad houses, but they also wanted, an updated zoning map. We just changed our zoning, so I'm getting a busy map. We changed our zoning kind of in the middle of the project, but that should be next, not too long.
Okay, we can wait on that.
Working on everything except our zoning now.
Anything else under unfinished business? Okay, moving on to new and miscellaneous business. This Friday, March the 22nd, is the Traffic Commission meeting at 10 a.m. in council chambers. Saturday, March the 23rd, is the night of March Madness fundraiser with Waycraft from 6 to 10 p.m. at VFW Post 8999. The cost is $25, and it's 419-563-0550. And I believe one of Bucyrus' own illustrators and comedians is going to be performing. So, you're gonna have to.
Earl Music.
Earl Music, yeah. So that's this Saturday night, so, a fun thing to do and, help out, Waycraft Industries, which of course helps our developmentally disabled in our community. Monday, March the 25th It's a public hearing, this is for all of us. We have on zoning proposal for South Walnut, South Poplar Streets at 6:30 PM here in council chambers. That is open to the public. 168 letters were sent out. We've received quite a bit of feedback from that, so we're expecting people to be here for that discussion on Monday, March the 25th at 6:30 PM. Saturday, April the 6th, the City of Bucyrus Spring into Wellness 5K walk to benefit Safety Town is at 10 a.m. at All Miller Park. The cost is only $10 to get into that. I think Kevin already volunteered to go there, didn't you? You taking a bicycle?
He's gonna run.
I thought it was.
I was giving him an out.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna go. I'm gonna be on the couch.
Okay. You can call 419-562-6767 to extension 221 if you'd like to participate. And on Monday, April the 8th is the Crawford County Community Concert. The Dallas String Quartet is at 7 p.m. at the elementary school. There are extra tickets available if you do not have a membership. They're only $20, and you can contact them at www.crawfordcountycommunityconcert.com. That's all I have. Anything else under new business? We're all here this evening. We don't need to excuse anyone. Joint regular committee meetings. All referrals from this council meeting and any open project list items may be discussed during the committee meetings. For this Thursday at 6 o'clock, these referrals are.
We have 3 new referrals. We have the car show street closure request, that's in health and safety from council. We have the memorial tree program. I don't know if that is for the agenda for Thursday. That is public
Ready
lands.
for that? Okay.
Public lands and buildings from the administration. We have the fire equipment, health and safety and finance from the law director. Already in committee and on the agenda for Thursday with the zoning variance protocol changes. That is in the planning committee. And the derelict property issues, I believe rental registration and vacant building ordinances are both in health and safety. And that's all I have.
Okay. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McKeever, second by Mr. Coe to adjourn. We are adjourned at 8:12 PM. Thank you.